seeing, and why are you guys checking in the first place?
Well, last play is kind of one of those unfortunate deals, and we saw something we liked, and obviously I think a lot of responsibility falls on me, not on the kids. So they played their butts off, and they got us back down there and a chance to win. So saw something we liked, but obviously didn't work out, and we lost the game.
What did Reese say after that? I mean, did he hear something?
No, I mean, here's the bottom line, guys. The game's over. We lost. And it's kind of like I would tell Nick if he throws an interception in the middle of the second quarter. There's nothing you can do about that play anymore. Only thing that matters is what you can do moving forward. And the same thing, do something good. It's all in the past. So, we didn't get it done. It doesn't. No blame falls on Reese or Nick. It's one of those unfortunate deals, and it's unfortunate the game ended the way it did.
When Reese takes ownership, though, and basically says it was on him.
Yeah, that's the type of kid he is. Got a lot of character. He's a stand-up kid.
When one of the best centers in the country is in that spot, he's a multi-year starter, captain, all that, takes ownership of the play. But when you're that good a player, and a lot of people are going to walk away seeing that as a mistake that you made, just how tough is it to watch the coach in that spot, to see if a player be?
I think he is the best center in the country. I don't think there's any question. And I'm not here to assess blame like some people. I think it's an unfortunate thing that happened. It doesn't always have to be somebody's fault.
What was the atmosphere at practice today?
Good. The guys are, obviously disappointed. We're all disappointed in the result, but like you'd expect on a Sunday after a game we didn't get done, but they know what's ahead, and can't do anything about the game that happened last night. All we can do is move forward and get ready to play a really good Georgia team on the road and play our best game.
Have you been happy with the way the passing games kind of developed the last 5 games or so?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see our efficiency's going up, completion percentage is going up. We're making plays down the field, so we're getting there. Our guys are making strides, and we're starting to show some signs of what we expected. But we've still got room to improve. There's still some things out there we missed. I thought we had good balance. At the end of the day, the main problem yesterday was to turn the ball over. So,
how much has Quan's reliability just kind of helped in the passing game?
Good. Quan's come on as that other third guy. Whether even some deep balls now and in intermediate stuff, and he's a senior, he's a veteran guy, he's great with the ball after he catches it, so that's a huge strength of his. That's why he's such a good punt returner. So it's been really good to have him come on and be another weapon for us.
Fred, what happened on the fumble right there on the goal line? That was kind of one of those plays, maybe it was like last year against LSU where Nick and Cap had the mishandled exchange.
Yeah, that's just one of those deals. They're trying to make a play. I mean, we'd already scored 2 touchdowns on the night on the exact same play, and so, I think that's really the only major exchange we've had this year. And, we'd already scored twice on it. That's a big part of who we are. It's our offense. It's what we really have been pretty good at. And so wouldn't second guess that one bit.
Is there anything you can tell us about Duke, what his situation is?
We're still unsure at this time. Hopeful for the best. I think Coach will probably have more information on that by the time he talks on Tuesday.
If he does miss this week, how does that change just the general game plan, general mindset for an offense where your top receivers might be unavailable?
Yeah. Well, it'll probably depend on what we see as when we're game planning and what we see with our opponent. And at the same time, we didn't have him for 3/4 of the game last night, and we were still able to be pretty effective running and throwing the ball. So it's a big loss, but it's like every other position. Somebody's got to step up. I thought last night Ricardo stepped up and made some plays for us. I thought Melvin Ray stepped up, CJ stepped up, and that's just what good teams got to do is guys got to step up and fill those voids.
Tony Stevens, a guy who might get played.
Tony Stevens is a guy we would definitely look at, and he'd be a guy who would want to step up as well.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of talk this week about last season and what happened last season. I'm sure you've been in situations on the other side where some kind of a weird play happened to cause you to lose. Does it really have any impact, do you think?
It really doesn't. It's kind of like last night. It doesn't have anything to do with next week's game. Obviously both teams have things about last year's game they think about. We were playing well for 3/4, and then we didn't play good in the 4th quarter, and then they're going to think they made a great comeback, and then we got the play. So it really doesn't have anything to do with this year's game. A lot of new players, still a lot of guys that are back from both sides, but new teams, new identities, new coaches on their side in some areas. So no, it really doesn't matter.
I know Nick has downplayed it this whole time here, but over the past season and a half between Trey saying that last year's game meant a lot to him, his family, his former coaches, Trevon, his roommate, saying just that this is such a big deal to him. When this is now the return to Georgia for him, just how does this week, you think, differ just psychologically? Because as much as he downplays it, everyone around has acknowledged that this means a lot to him.
Yeah, I think this one's going to mean a lot to him because of what happened last night. Yeah, sure, Georgia, he knows a lot of those guys. He was there. It's his home state that he grew up in. But at the end of the day, once that game starts, all that stuff sounds good. He's going to play his best game he can no matter what. He's going to go out there and do the best he can, give his best effort. It wouldn't matter who we're playing. And I think I would trust Nick when he talks to you, when he says, hey, it's just another big game. I think that's what I trust.
What kind of problems does the Georgia defense present?
Well, obviously we're familiar with him. Jeremy Pruitt was at Florida State, played in the championship game. They got good speed and athleticism. The two linebackers that are back, Wilson and Herrera, are really good players, played a lot of ball. I mean, they're probably as good a linebacker tandem as there is in our league, I would think. They've got some guys who can really rush the passer. They got the young kid on the edge, the Carter kid. They've got Floyd. They've got some good guys with a lot of experience inside with Thornton and Drew and Jordan Jenkins. So they've got some guys back that played a lot of ball. They were kind of a little more inexperienced last year. Now they're in a new system this year, but they played more games. They got a lot of guys that we're familiar with on the back end. Some playing now more than others. So they're a team that's been very aggressive, very attacking, which is what Jeremy does. I think they lead at least the league, maybe the nation, in turnover margin. So they generate a lot of things for their offense, much like Ole Miss did. And so it'll be a pretty good challenge for us.
How much, how much are you going to look back on the national championship game and kind of see, maybe compare and contrast what he did there with what he's doing now?
Probably about like they do.
Rhett, do you, in a situation like that, do you say, okay, we did this and this worked, and this is what they did, so he probably won't do that, and try to figure out what he might do differently to try to stop it this time?
At the end of the day, he's got different personnel this year. So he's in a different place, got different personnel, and so it's kind of like every year as a coach, you kind of have to tweak and evolve things to your personnel. Your base may be similar, but you also start to go a different direction and try to do what your guys are good at, and he's a good coordinator. He does that there too. So there'll be some similarities, there'll be some differences.
When you get into these shootout type situations you guys have had these last 3 weeks, what's that like on the sideline between you and Gus, trying to figure ways out knowing you've got to score almost on every possession?
We kind of have the same approach we have every game on every possession. Obviously, we try to score on every possession, and so it's really no different. Unless you're behind by quite a bit, you're going to call the game the same way you normally call it. We've been in both scenarios. We've been in times this year where the defense had to bail us out because we weren't playing good, and we've been in times where we've had to keep scoring. So each game has its own little personality of its own, and you do adjust to that to some degree, but we're more or less trying to figure out what's working against their scheme and how we can get guys freed up in the running game and the passing game, more so than worried about the score, because we're trying to score every time.
When Sammy's been performing so well these last 2 games, finally, quote-unquote, busting out the slump, so to speak, now you lose Duke maybe for this game. So much more pressure on Sammy to perform, but now as we saw against A&M, they're doubling on him. How much tougher is that making on Sammy to do some things?
Not any more tougher than we had it last year. I think the good thing with Sammy, he's getting healthy, which is I think you've seen over the last few weeks. He's not only he's able to play healthy instead of just play. So I think that's given him a lot of confidence. But the other guys got to step up, and we got a lot of experienced guys with Quan Bray and CJ and Melvin and Ricardo and Marcus, and I could go on to a couple others probably that they just got to step up and make plays, and some of them did the other night, which was really big.
You said that Cap is a consistent performer. You know what you're going to get from him each week, but when he has the best night of his career and is now putting himself in pretty rarefied air statistically at this point in the SEC season overall, are you starting to see a difference in him from even what you were expecting?
No, I did notice last night, especially after the first play, that he was pretty determined the rest of the way. And like I said, he's dependable, he's steady, he's developed into our guy, and we trust him completely. I thought he played really, really well last night. But like I said, we've come to expect Cam to give us his best every week, and I think he's kind of getting better as the season goes on, like he normally does in the game. He gets better as the game goes on. So I think it's a big tribute to him, just the way he works, his mindset, type of kid he is.
Rhett, when it comes to grading yesterday, how much did the turnovers when they happened maybe balance out all the good you did offensively? 38 points, 600 yards total offense.
It balances out a lot because we lost, and we only punted twice. We had one drive that was riddled with penalties, and that hurt us, and then we turned it over. You know, the first play of the game again, and then at the end when we had to win the game, we didn't come through, we turned it over. So, you know, the big thing is you look at it, our 7 wins this year, I think we have 6 turnovers by the offense, and then our 2 losses, I think we have 6 turnovers. So that right there is a big deal at the end of the day. The fastest way to get beat is to hurt yourself, and that's what we did.
All right, Coach. Thank you.